This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
All right, Exonation, you know how we've been talking about ETs, extraterrestrials, UFOs, and so on, and you know my take on that. Well, got to tell you something. There have been thousands of ETs found in the New Mexico desert. That's right, they have actually found extraterrestrials in the desert. I'm not making this up. I'm just bending the truth a little bit here. Actually, they found Atari's ET, the extraterrestrial cartridges, found in a landfill. And I've got to thank my good friend coreyk for bringing this story to light. And coreyk joins me now from Tampa, Florida. Corey, it's great talking to you back on the radio again after all these years, my friend.
It's wonderful. It has been so many years, and I'm excited to report a bona fide extraterrestrial sighting here today.
All right, Corey, take us through this fascinating news story that has actually swept around the world.
Well, it all started in 1983, and the video game industry was hitting a slump, and one of the targets that people really latched onto was the E.T. video game. I played this game when I was a kid, and it was so bad, Rob.
How bad was it, Corey?
Oh, man. There were traps and pitfalls every 2 or 3 steps, and E.T. would lift up his head and try to rise up out of the pits, and it was a lot harder than it sounded. And if you were just 1 pixel off, which a pixel was pretty big back then, but if you were just 1 pixel off, you fell right back into the trap. But
I understand that Atari actually paid Steven Spielberg millions of dollars.
Millions. It was, in their minds, this game was going to be the most successful video game of all time. They produced millions of these games. They paid Steven Spielberg for the rights, and it just was a total bust. And today, officially, the E.T. extraterrestrial game from Atari is officially the worst game of all time.
Unreal. I understand that the people in New Mexico were sold 250 of the games to the film producers who actually brought this to light for 10 cents each.
It was, and that's an interesting story in itself. The site of this alleged burial that I guess was not alleged, it was proven a fact today, is the same site where they dropped that first atomic bomb during World War II. Same exact site, same exact town. And the filmmakers, they actually had to spend years just getting the rights to do this excavation that took place just yesterday. They had to prove that it was safe to basically dig up a nuclear waste site.
So here we've got all these E.T. cartridges. You've got Steven Spielberg, who made a ton of money on it. Was Steve Jobs part of Atari back then when E.T. was actually created, or was this before or after his time with Atari?
Steve Jobs was around at Atari many years before this, so by the time E.T. came around, he had moved on, and Apple was its own bona fide corporation. But that's another interesting story. If you want to hear about it later on, I can tell you about Steve Jobs and how he came to be involved with Atari. It was his first job, believe it or not.
Actually, the other night I watched Jobs on Demand TV, the movie.
What a great movie.
It is, and to see what this guy went through and how backstabbing in the computer industry really happens, and what goes on behind the scenes, and how he was able to resurrect not only Apple but his own life. Fascinating, and Ashton Kutcher did a great job.
Oh, he did. It was a fabulous movie. It's been several years since I found a movie like this, but I've seen it 4 or 5 times just in the last month, and it's been a while since I've seen a movie that I really latched onto like that.
After reading the story, Corey, about the E.T. cartridges, do you think you're going to watch E.T. Call Home again?
Oh, yeah. It definitely brought up those old memories. Actually, I'll tell you something scary. E.T. was the first movie that I saw in the theaters when I was little.
Hey, Corey, you and I have to take a commercial break. You know what that's like, my friend.
Oh, yeah.
Corey K. is my special guest of this hour, X Zone Nation. If you'd like to get a hold of Corey, his email address is coreyk@rel-mar.com, and we're so happy to have Corey with us. Not only is he a good friend, he's an excellent producer, he's a great guy, very knowledgeable. And when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about E.T., but we'll also talk about that deadly computer virus that was going around and still may be there. My name's Rob McConnell. This is the X Zone. Don't go away. Modern Esoteric, Beyond Our Senses by Brad Olson, consummates the lifology story about where humanity originates. It is the lost continents, the primitive wisdom, the mythos of creation, and the rethinking of ancient history as we are taught in academia. There is much more to the story than what we have been told. As this is the first book in the Esoteric series, Modern Esoteric starts at the beginning of time and accelerates up to this modern age. Future Esoteric is book 2 in the series and takes a forward-looking position ahead of today with an open and honest examination of the ET issue and various unexplained phenomena. To discover the writings of author Brad Olson, visit www.bradolson.com. That's www.bradolson.com. Named one of the world's greatest psychics, Elizabeth Joyce is now giving readings worldwide via Skype. Elizabeth Joyce is recognized for her clairvoyant ability to help find missing persons, her analysis of dreams, past life regression work, mediumship, and her accurate predictions. Elizabeth has been a frequent guest on the X Zone radio show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, now for several years. For an appointment with Elizabeth Joyce, call 201-934-8986 or Skype at elizabeth.joyce. And for more information, you can always visit Elizabeth Joyce online at www.new-visions.com.
Do you have a dis-ease that you would like to alleviate through a natural means? Have you been contacted by angels, ghosts, or even extraterrestrials and want to validate these experiences? Or would you simply like to speak with someone who can help you find your life's purpose? I'm Dr. Joseph Mara, and I'm offering my services free of charge for first-time clients contacting me during the month of April. These free consultations include angel card readings, guided meditations, life coaching, and energy healing. If you have always wanted to explore these types of experiences but were skeptical or simply could not afford them, then take advantage of this free special offer. Contact me through my website, a guiding light spelled LITE.com to schedule your consultation today. Until then, I offer you love, light, and laughter.
Corey K is my special guest, Exonation. If you'd like to send Corey an email, coreyk at rel-mar.com. That's Corey K, and Corey is COREYK at rel-mar.com. Corey, so what is going to be the end result with this ET catastrophe? Do you think that it's really going to make a lot of difference, or is this just going to be one of those games that was botched? The manufacturer, in this case Atari, thought they'd get rid of the embarrassment, and here we are in 2014 and they're starting to wear ET egg on their face again.
Well, I'll tell you what's really interesting about this. It's the fact that a big corporation like Atari, because they were so big back in the day, how they could do something like this in the middle of the night and actually get away with it and cover it up even among their own employees. It was only a week ago that I was talking to somebody who had friends who worked for Atari at the time, and even they thought that this was a hoax. They thought the documentarians were going to go in there, they were going to dig up the site and find nothing but old trash. But this large company, they were able to cover this up completely, and they really did perform this act in the middle of the night. A manager ordered 14 trucks to dump the old equipment, including the ET cartridges, off at this site, which was a nuclear waste site too, by the way. And he ordered 14 trucks in the middle of the night. And Atari was so popular back then that little kids were going to this site and they were digging up the cartridges. So that same manager, the next night, he ordered them more trucks to come in and pour concrete all over it. So it's just scary that they can get away with that. You've heard about the NSA revelations the last couple of years. If that doesn't make us scared, I don't know what should.
But I'm having a hard time understanding the significance of this find. All right, so you have a company who came up with a game that was a big flop, and they decided to get rid of it. Isn't that their right, since they owned the game?
It is their right. What I find really interesting, though, is what a big event this is for people of my generation, and maybe the generation just before me, maybe the generation just after me. This is a significant event in our life. We were talking about it today. We were excited. But the previous generation, that was not really something that's in their radar. They see that site as the site of the atomic bomb.
Right.
So isn't it telling that instead of us remembering that major historical event, Atari, something like Atari, Atari game or Atari game burial is such a major event in our lives now. I think it's a sign of how technology has really integrated itself into our life and kind of taken it over in some ways.
Exonation, Corey K is our special guest. And Corey, you also sent me some information about Heartbleed, the what was it, a virus?
Well, I'll tell you what it is. 2/3 of the world's web servers use a technology called OpenSSL.
Yes.
And that is a phrase, it's not even in the common vocabulary, but have you ever been to a website and you typed in HTTPS and maybe the name of your bank, www.bankofamerica.com, and have you ever received those warnings that say, this is not a verified site, something like that?
Yes, I have, yeah.
Well, OpenSSL is a way to make those sites secure. It's why those sites are an improvement over regular HTTP websites. And prior to these disclosures and the discovery of this Heartbleed vulnerability, people felt that if they went to an HTTPS